kind of training do you need to help people change how they work? That's the question that you need to ask if you're leading an organizational change initiative. Because training that simply delivers content will not lead to healthy and sustainable change. Training that supports change must include 7 key elements, 3 of which I shared in last week's video, and I'll link it in the description box below. Today, I want to share with you the remaining 4. So grab your notes and let's get started. Before diving into the last 4, let's quickly recap those first 3 elements. You'll recall that the first element is context. The people taking the training need to understand why the training is needed, the intended outcome of the change, and how that training connects to their work. The second element, purpose, which needs to be clearly defined. Is the training meant to build awareness, develop knowledge, strengthen confidence in skills they already have, or build specific skills to enable people to use a new system or process? When your purpose is clear, then you can identify what people need before the training and what they will need afterward. The third element covered last week, perceived capability. Perceived capability is the mental model that we all hold about our ability to engage in an activity. So before we try something new, we assess whether we believe success is possible. If your employees doubt their ability to adopt the change, training alone is not going to move them forward. This brings us to today's video and the final 4 elements. Element number 4, unlearning. As adults, we don't learn anything new from a blank slate. We all have established habits, assumptions, routines, and ways of working that have often been reinforced for years. If those patterns are not addressed, people will naturally return to what is familiar, even after the training. That's why for learning to be embedded, you need to create space and reflect on what needs to stop, what assumptions need to shift, and what ways of working no longer serve the organization. Unlearning creates that space. It creates the space for new behaviors to emerge. I recorded a video specifically on the unlearning process, and I'll link it in the description box below. Element number 5, safety. Change creates uncertainty. Add to that the need to learn new skills and let go of familiar routines. And it's not surprising that training can create anxiety. People may worry that, what if they fall behind if they don't learn quickly enough? We can see some of that today with the rapid advancement of AI. Others may become anxious when the new activity is harder to learn than they expected, or if they fear making mistakes or appearing incompetent. And unless that anxiety is acknowledged, training may be delivered and completed, but learning will not fully occur. And that acknowledgement, the acknowledgement of that anxiety needs to begin before the training. It can't be left for the facilitator to address once people are already in the training. People need a space, a safe space to ask questions, experiment with new approaches, and make adjustments and learn through practice. And here, leaders and managers play a critical role. When you model curiosity, openness, patience, you make it easier for people to learn, adapt, and move forward with the change. Element number 6, skill development. This is often what we think about first when we think about training. It's also one of the primary reasons training is included in a change effort. But skill development still needs to stay connected to the context and purpose of the change. What new skills will people need? How are those skills different from what they do today? And where will they need to apply them in their daily work? Strong training moves beyond simply information delivery. It gives people the opportunity to practice the new behaviors or techniques, apply the learning to real work situations, and receive feedback and coaching. This is where learning begins to shift from theory into capability. The final element, reinforcement. Your work is not done once training is delivered. Those new skills, those behaviors and work activities are not yet habits. And unless they are intentionally reinforced, they are unlikely to become the new way of working. This is where many training programs fail. Leaders treat the completion of training as if it's the end, when really it's one of the early parts of the adoption process. And that's because we don't simply erase our old habits. We only overwrite them. And for that, we need repetition, practice, and support. Reinforcement can include manager coaching, team reflections, alignment with performance measures, and systems and processes that make the new way of working easier to sustain. Without that post-training reinforcement, even well-designed training can quickly fade into the background. I'll talk more about reinforcement in an upcoming video. Before you plan your next training program to support a change initiative in your organization, ask yourself, are we simply providing training, or are we preparing people to adopt the change and achieve the intended outcome? And if you're working through that question in your organization right now for a change initiative that you have, you're welcome to reach out. Let's have a strategy call. And if this topic is helpful, remember to subscribe for more practical reflections on leading sustainable change. That's it for now. I'll see you soon.